but we're going to get in here a little different way here. Take a look at this storm. Let's see if I can do this here, a three-dimensional view of it. So, see if I can get this right. So, we go into this supercell thunderstorm here. Let's see, this is when I flip it. So what we're going to see here is we probably have a bounded weak echo region. There it is. So as we go into this storm here, you can kind of see on the back edge here, we've got this updraft coming straight up in this red area here. And the only reason I'm using this right now is because usually when we're tracking severe thunderstorms, at least this time of year, we don't have these supercells out there. We have a squall line, and they're harder to track with that. So let's actually, probably going to be forced to hit the home button here in a second. But again, there's that big storm. Again, this is where you'd see that anvil top on top of these thunderstorms as they all move off to the east. So again, flip back to home, turn off the 3D radar, and then we'll get back into coverage. Again, that's one thing I wanted to look at on that particular storm, because you can kind of see the three-dimensional view. You have that rotating updraft that goes all the way up into that storm. Storms to the west are getting closer. Hopefully there's going to be some interaction with this main line and interrupt the. So what we're going through is this process where the storm's rotating. It's out there all on its own, capable of producing a tornado. And then if you get this interruption, strong wind coming out of the west at about 50 to 60 miles an hour with a lot of rain, it's going to disrupt that circulation. And sometimes it works in the opposite way. It triggers tornado genesis on a storm. You get a cell merger, and the storm's been trying to produce a tornado, and all of a sudden you get this interaction, and it just takes off. So hopefully that won't be the case.
And to answer, I know there's a couple of folks asking if there is a tornado on the ground at the moment. Not as of right now. We just have some concerns that we are seeing that rotation.
We don't have any debris lofted in the air just yet, but our shear rate, it went away just a little bit. So again, we have a rotating thunderstorm that we know of. And there's probably a lot of storm spotters out there too. There's probably a lot of storm chasers with their eyes on this storm, because I've been hearing the chatter on social media all day about it. So again, this is probably the biggest storm of the day as far as the supercells go. And it just happened to be developing, moving towards Cherokee. So again, it's moving a little bit farther north and east. So Cherokee, you're going to get this large hail coming through. And Barton, I think you're probably right in the path here of the possible tornado. So damaging straight line winds, large hail, a lot of lightning with this storm, all moving east-northeast, and you can hear it off in the distance. So again, Barton, you need to be in your safe place. That rotation, let me put the distance on here. Yeah, right now, it is 12 and a half miles just due southwest of Barton. Yeah, so watching it closely. Barton, and then down towards, let's take a look here. Eventually we're looking at Woodland, and this may move right through Florence, right across the river. Or Pickwick Lake, right towards McFarland Park. So, dangerous thunderstorm here. I'm going to check the Weather Service office in Memphis, see if we got anything confirmed out of
I think
that storm in Mississippi.
We have seen, and I believe this is one of our EMA directors out in Lawrence County. They are confirming a 2-story residential structure fire, and they believe lightning may have been the cause of it. So again, we are, as you can see on this radar, we are incurring a lot of lightning with this particular storm that we are looking at. And that's kind of another anticipation that we can see going into the overnight hours. So for sure, make sure you are in your safe place if you are anywhere near the Barton, Cherokee area.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lawrence County, and there's no storm there. So there's no lightning, so I don't know. Yeah, so again, there'll be more to that. But again, this storm's, it's acting strange now. It's like it's got 2 areas it's rotating.
Yeah.
Let's drop the lightning here. It's almost like it's cycling through. So we've got 2 little areas that we're watching. one there, and then the other one's on the back side.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens over time with that. I'm going to take a look at storm relative velocity again. And it's just really nasty right on the back edge of that storm.
They've continued that tornado warning for 10:15.
Yeah, shear rate's back up. So just it's cycling through. That's what these bigger storms do. They'll just sit there and cycle through. Let's see what the loop looks like. Yeah, so it may actually be forming another mesocyclone. So you've got the large hail here right out Highway 72 near Limekiln. And then, so again, this is all going to be large hail. So probably seeing P to dime size hail in Cherokee. That's likely going to pick up. Another hail product here. Let's take a look at hail from GWX. Again, that's a delayed, probably 5 minutes old. There's a new one. So again, this storm is very healthy. It continues to develop and move off to the northeast. Let's take a look at the view from Jackson County. It's going to update as well. So again, closest radar is over in Mississippi, so we'll continue to use that. And right now we're indicating strong enough rotation for a tornado. So far we don't have any confirmation of a tornado touching down. There's a lot of lightning, there's large hail. In addition to all of this is probably going to be severe wind gusts, which could reach 60 miles per hour from this particular thunderstorm. I'm going to expand the view back out. Our main line continues to march to the east. Update on that. It's moving east. I would say it's moving at easily 50 miles an hour. So this is moving east at 50, maybe 60. And it's gaining momentum as it moves east, which is only going to increase the potential for damaging winds down the road. What we're hoping we get is an interaction with this storm before it gets to Florence, because this storm's moving at about 40, 45 miles per hour to the northeast, and the line behind it's moving faster. So the more we can close that gap. And if we could get a storm develop down here west of Russellville or near Red Bay, that would block the inflow into that. Just want to update you folks up here into Wayne County, near Collinwood. It's well north of the line. It's kind of radar no man's land, but we're probably seeing some wind damage in Collinwood with that storm there. So go back to radar. So again, our tornado warning expires, I believe it goes until a little after 10. There it is, 10:15. So we will be staying in continuous coverage. Our newscast getting around 10 o'clock, but again, we won't be having a newscast until this quiets down. So again, we're going to continue to be here for you guys. So what's happening? No reports, but again, this is not a very populated area where this storm is right now. It's in western Colbert County, moving towards Cherokee. So Cherokee, let us know on our Facebook feed. If I can't monitor it myself, but Jade is over there monitoring things. Let us know what's going on here within this storm. You're probably getting large hail now. Again, you should be in your shelter here in Barton and Cherokee. Limekiln, you've got a lot of hail, looks like, with that storm. And again, this is a dangerous storm. It's like on the verge of trying to produce a tornado, and we hope it doesn't.
Lots of lightning reported from some folks around the shoals. So that's the latest I've seen in our comments thus far. So.
And Waterloo, we just have a new severe thunderstorm warning issued, it looks like, all for northwest part of Alabama. And that is for that line that's coming in behind this main storm. So you may be a little confused. You're like, oh, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. It doesn't, this tornado warning supersedes that. So you're under a tornado warning in Florence, Muscle Shoals, Cherokee, Barton, and it's going to be continuing to get close here to Gravelly Springs, St. Florine down the road. As this storm continues to approach and move in from the west. Waterloo, you're kind of in the middle of everything right now, the break here, but you're going to have another line that comes in, and this will be it for the night. This is going to come in with winds approaching 60 miles per hour, maybe even higher. The other challenge we have is we don't usually get a lot of reports from northern Mississippi. Again, there's not as many people out here. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's just delayed reports, but we're not getting any reports, at least right now, from Corinth as this storm's moving in. But I'd be willing to bet there's at least 60-mile-an-hour winds possible with that storm.
They're also reporting penny-sized hail with this as well.
lightning's
in
picking
that
up.
storm.
Yeah, lightning's picking up in Cherokee.
Yeah, so in that storm warning, that's the hazard, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-size hail.
Yeah, I'm checking one of my radar apps to see if there's...
Looks like this is also moving east at about 50 miles per hour, so yes. But it looks like that back line looks like it may be getting closer and closer. I think the last we checked it was about 20-ish, 23 miles per hour, or 23 miles behind this front line of storms, but looks like it's catching up a little quicker, which is temporarily good. We do want these to become one singular storm system, but could also throw us into a couple other concerns.
Someone reporting a possible funnel on the Alabama-Mississippi
Yes.
Strait on the net. Is that yeah? Okay, I didn't see that video. I'll play it again here. So, possible funnel cloud. I mentioned there are going to be some storm chasers out there, and they're all probably on this one storm.
Yeah. It's a little tough to see.
Yeah, it is. Again, Jada and I are looking at this video
Yeah.
in the National Weather Service chat that would maybe confirm something, but yeah, you have to kind of time it with the lightning. I'm going to double check with Memphis again.
Yeah.
Again, we are in programming coverage for tornado warning, storm approaching the shoals, moving into Cherokee and Barton as we speak. And okay, what do we got here? Okay, these are pictures out of western Tennessee. I mean, actually western Mississippi.
Right.
So yeah, there's been a lot of damage with this line of thunderstorms.
And a lot of these, I think earlier when I was on air, there were tornado watches issued from our Storm Prediction Center, stretching from Texas, Louisiana, all the way up to about Illinois. So it has been a rough pass with some of these storms, and a lot of folks are seeing extra snow behind it as well. I think we mentioned that.
I saw these snow squall warnings coming out in Missouri today. We will likely see snow tomorrow morning. So if you checked out over the weekend, that's an update you may not have seen.
Yes.
So Cherokee, again, right now we continue to see the brunt of that storm just on the south side of town. Need to hunker down there, Cherokee and Barton. Also Limrock, just tremendous lightning coming out of this storm right now. I'm going to turn it off because it's kind of blocking all the other data. So the rotation is right near Cherokee, and it's moving east and northeast. So the winds are likely picking up significantly within this line of storms. So let's take a look at the storm relative. It's a very elongated area of rotation too. So again, what we would be really, really concerned with would be very tight gate to gate, we call it. The challenge is from this vantage point of the radar, it's so far south, and you guys have experienced this in the past with tornadoes and say February and early March, is what's happening on the ground we can't quite always see. So that's why we're really extending this caution. You need to be seeking shelter from this storm. It's coming in. It's got a possible tornado that could develop at any time. It just kind of cycles through. The shear rate down from earlier. In fact, I'll put that into motion. So,
And I think someone has mentioned hailing going on in Cherokee. So yes, that's expected.
let me take, oh, you know what? Never mind. Okay, so you can see the shear rate kind of drops off a bit and then it shifts. So we got the southern part here and then all of a sudden it shifts. So I think we're seeing the transfer. Yeah, what's happening is the old area, the original warning came out for the storm on the southwest side of this, but it's now changed. So it's cycled through. So supercells cycle through a lot, and this one cycled through, and we have the new area rotation on the southeast side of Cherokee as we speak. So that's something new that's developed here just recently. Let's see if we have any debris showing up yet. Nothing. What we will look for here will be an area of blue that kind of shows up inside all this red, and that's the radar saying, well, we're detecting debris, and that would basically verify a tornado. So far, no reports that a tornado has touched down, but we're staying hunkered down in our storm shelters here, hallways. As you get just to the east of Cherokee, this is Mulberry Lane, Highway 72. You got Moody Lane here. This is tracking close to Barton too. So again, stay in your safe place there. Got County Road 2 just off to the north here. And with this track, right now, it's It's cycling through. It's not as strong as it was earlier, but it's still a very dangerous storm here. Let's talk about hail. You said it was hailing. If we get hail size on those reports, that would help us out greatly.
I think pea-sized hail has been reported.
About to get larger
in Colbert County. So yes.
Yeah. So this storm now probably capable of golf ball size hail as it's tracking, and that's what the data's telling me here. Very significant.
It's gonna start light and pick up.
Yeah. So. Got a lot of hail with this. It's kind of cycling through. That just shows us that the updraft is intensifying. It may not show it on the reflectivity, at least the velocity, that we've got another mesocyclone there, but it just keeps cycling through. And that's the concern. The view from high top showing the same thing. So when you look at this here, this bullseye, so to speak, that is where the largest hail is. And that's about, the hail's probably picking up in Cherokee as we speak.
Yes, and they've extended, once again, they've continued the tornado warning until 10:15, Colbert and Lauderdale counties.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get into this hail here. It's now northeast of Cherokee. What happens is that product basically has to process through the radar algorithms, and it's usually about 5 minutes behind. So this is more true of where it is. We can see it in the radar imagery. We've got large hail about ready to cross Pickwick Lake here. We got North Pike. This is the north side of Cherokee, Cross Lane, and Moody Lane, Mulberry Lane. And after this, there's still that other line, and we're going to get to that other line here in just a second. But this is the storm with the tornado warning on it. And it does look like it's moving north of Florence here over time. Kind of get back here. I'm going to put another track on here. So I'm going to track the large hail, and on the southern edge will be the possible tornado. And we've got this moving up into Tennessee here over time. So again, this is going to, it'll be close in Anderson. But I think by the time this gets to Lexington, the secondary line is going to catch up. The main line will catch up with all of this. And we won't see this type of supercell. We could see the supercells develop within the line. But I think our primary concern after this is going to be damaging widespread straight line winds from this. So Central Heights around 10-12. Again, that's just off to the north of Florence as you go up Cox Creek Parkway north. So we've got large hail coming to Central Heights at 10-12, Florence, St. Florine, Killen around 10-30. 10-18 in Florence itself. So Muscle Shoals, your winds are probably going to increase, but I think the hail track is going to be just north of you, probably along the Cox Creek Parkway up north towards Central Heights. St. Florine, you're right there in that, unfortunately. So again, large hail, damaging winds moving towards Central Heights, St. Florine, and if it turns a little more to the right, it'll be Killen. But Killen, I think your winds are going to pick up from the south even more than they have been so far today. As this comes in, let me check the latest here.
I think that Tornado Watch 59 has been continued. So the overarching Tornado Watch that we've been mentioning.
Yes.
And tree down on power lines in Somerville, Morgan, Alabama. So
yeah, these are all those gusty winds, gradient winds we call them. Yeah, Weather Service says the storm's a little bit less organized, and I think it's because it's cycling through.
Yeah, and I think we've mentioned this quite often, but for a lot of the folks that have not quite seen this storm just yet, but it's on its way to your area, make sure you are charging your devices as need be, because what we are seeing, of course, like I mentioned, a tree is down on power lines, but with these winds, we could also expect a good deal of our power outages to spread in a couple of areas this evening, and I know a lot of folks are concerned about getting back to work for tomorrow morning. So, and I believe that's our Florence camera set up behind. You can see a lot of that lightning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up for you.
Well, actually, I can probably pull it up here.
Oh,
let me try
sweet.
something real quick.
Oh, perfect. They put it up for us. Thank you, guys.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah, that is. That is tremendous lightning. That's that storm coming in. So we're probably going to have some homes struck by lightning as well. I know we had that one report out of Lawrence County, but there hadn't been any lightning in Lawrence County so far this evening.
Not too sure on that.
Yeah, so again, at night when you get tornado warnings and you get this strobe effect lightning, there's a really strong updraft in this storm that continues to move towards Florence, especially north of Sheffield, Tuscumbia, more towards St. Florine. So St. Florine, you need to be in your shelter. Let's go back to radar and just let me know anytime you see something like that. That'll be,
yeah, sure.
Pass that along. But tremendous lightning going on with this storm from Central Heights down towards Florence. And you get just to the north of Wilson Lake. And I think that track's going to pretty much hold true. Still close here for Killen and down the road Lexington. And we'll keep an eye on Loretto, Tennessee as well. We're starting to see... Oh, wow. That line's coming in. Look at that.
Yeah, catching up.
So the main line is now coming in. So we're going to see in about 30 minutes what it does to this storm. It's either going to create the tornado with the interaction or it's going to die out. But regardless, we've got a lot of wind coming in here right now, moving into Waterloo. Any one of these areas, see this area here near Tishomingo, that could spin up a brief tornado. Again, these will be spin up. They won't last but 5 minutes if they happen. But let's take a look at what that one's got going on.
I think we just had a report of a gust of 56-mile-per-hour winds from the west on the Cherokee sensors. So,
okay.
Yeah, definitely seeing some strong wind gusts. For sure.
Did you say
56?
56 miles an hour. That's doing damage. So again, that's the gusty wind nature of it. And as we take a look all along this line, there's a possibility we could see a spin-up tornado as this moves through. So just because we're on air for this tornado warning, this line of storms coming in is going to be the end of the severe weather threat, but it could be the end of your power. And we've had a lot of wind damage. This is really accelerating. The line is probably moving east now at 55 to 60 miles per hour, and I think the forward speed will only increase over time. So I'm going to do a secondary storm track just for this squall line coming in, moving east. I'm going to move that at about 61 miles an hour because it's getting stronger. So this is another storm. So if you lose power from this storm here, and it's very possible you will in some areas, due to the lightning and the 56-mile-per-hour wind that was already recorded with it, the secondary line's coming in, and that will be the end of it. So that will be the end of the threat of severe weather here in the northwest corner of the state. But it's going to stay windy.
Power outages in Cherokee for sure. So there's been a couple of comments about that. So lightning, hail for sure as well. Gravelly
Springs, 1016, Stewartville. Again, this is a secondary line that's probably going to have some isolated 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. Cherokee, it'll hit you again around 1022. And right now it is 10:07, so about 15 more minutes there. Iron City, 10:31. St. Florine, 10:34. That's after this storm here moves through in about 15 minutes. Crooked Oak, McFarland Park, 10:37. Sheffield, 10:37. Killen, 10:39. So again, we've got one really dangerous storm, and we have other dangerous storms coming in from the west that will likely take power, take trees, take fences, just a big wall of wind coming in with that storm. So let's update you here on the north side of Florence. Again, this is you know what? It's cycling through on that back side again. Let me take the lightning off. So it's this right north of 72. We've probably got a lot of storm chaser eyes on this particular storm right here as we speak. We've got more of a tighter rotation here within that storm where these two pixels are together. In fact, let me get in closer here.
Yeah, they're working to reissue. This is from our Memphis folks. They're working to reissue downstream of Tishomingo and Prentice. And that was sent in about a minute or so ago. They have 60-mile-per-hour winds and tornado possible.
So we've got almost 100 miles an hour worth of shear going on north of Barton right now. So that's a tighter couplet, we call it, gate to gate here. Again, you see 47, but again, you add both of those numbers together to get the actual circulation. So we may have a tornado that's not detected yet by radar or eyes. It's probably wrapped in rain.
Yeah, they just reissued that thunderstorm warning for those areas, tornado possible with that. Okay. Again, this is Tishomingo and Prentiss, Mississippi, but we still keep an eye on that because that's headed our way.
Here's the hail. You get out here west of Florence, we've got the large hail, County Road 2, County Road 15, south of County Road 62, moving towards County Road 14. And this is going to probably cross into Petersville, St. Florine, or right along the Cox Creek Parkway, this being the hail. The threat for the tornado, let me get back down in here and I'll put another track on that. Let's go storm relative velocity. It shows it a little bit better. The threat for the tornado, I'm going to put that into motion here, get a better idea, because sometimes these storms turn to the right a little bit. So we're making sure when we put a storm track out, we're covering that as well. So yeah, this tornado, possible. I want to stress possible tornado. We don't have confirmation.
Right, a lot of these are possible.
Just continue to see a tremendous amount of lightning here. So let's go to the back edge of this storm. And we're going to move that at about 42 miles an hour. So here's where that possible tornado may hit. Near Florence, you got the UNA campus there. You get north towards the Cox Creek Parkway. Muscle Shoals. Right now, it looks like you're just going to get a big light show and a lot of wind from this storm just off to your north. We're going to get more street level into this as it gets closer to Florence. We got Killen down the road here again. St. Florine 1027. This is a possible tornado with this storm. You got another storm coming in about 15 minutes after that. So Lexington, we're talking 1050, Anderson 1056, and Killen 1033. This will probably stay just north of Rogersville, but again, by the time this gets to Lexington, it's close to 11 o'clock, and I think that secondary line is going to come in and take over. So everything's going to start moving due east at some point in time. But you need to be staying in your shelter, your safe place here on the north side of Florence. In fact, from downtown Florence to the north, as the storm kind of cycles back through, and you know, we're going to have to watch Sheffield down here. You're officially under the tornado warning, Tuscumbia and Muscle Shoals as well. But it's this southern part here that's likely going to track just off to your north. And we don't want to get real specific street level, and when we're talking rotation, because this storm is still, the important part of the storm is at the low levels, and we're only seeing the mid levels within that storm. So the squall line moving into Waterloo right now, crossing the state line. So Cherokee, heads up, it's coming in again. This time it's straight line winds, but you've already had at least a 56-mile-per-hour wind gust associated with that storm prior to that. As we go to velocity again, what we're seeing is going to just, storm relative actually works better. You just see it kind of cycling through, and you can see these strong gusty winds now just west of Cherokee as well. And at some point, we're just going to have severe thunderstorm warnings that say tornado possible all along this line. And that's just the way it's going to go down from what's been happening earlier. So here we've got high winds right at the state line on Highway 72, moving rapidly towards Limekiln and into Cherokee. So if we have damage in Cherokee, some of that damage will be spread even more so, because anything loose out there is going to start flying. And the challenge here is the radar beams pointed straight up and down at this storm, and the winds, the highest winds, are moving perpendicular to the radar, so it's harder to sample when you look at it that way. But
I think they may let, yes, okay. They have expired that tornado warning for Culver and Lauderdale, still in effect with the severe thunderstorm warning, so.
Okay. We may get another tornado warning out of this.
Yes.
This is just west of Limekiln, right on the leading. Let me turn the loop off. So we've got, again, there's going to be a lot of turbulence along this line as well, and the Weather Service will probably mention that. So again, we're going to get, we had, just the other day, we had a lot of turbulence along that line. So you say they've canceled this tornado warning?
Yes, they canceled it. It was set to expire at 10:15, so they went ahead and canceled that. However, large hail, damaging winds remain likely, and the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect still for Lauderdale and Culver counties. The overall tornado watch still in effect till 3 a.m., and that's per the Storm Prediction Center.
Yeah, I'm still really concerned about that storm.
Yeah.
By the way, so we're gonna be treating it as if it's if it's a possible tornado still there, just because of the history of this storm and the history of this area, for that matter. Trying to get
a lot of folks are still saying sirens are going off, and they have been for a moment. So this is still developing as we speak. And
well, let me take a look at this. Oh, they're just saying it will expire at 10:15. Yeah. All right, I'm going to rock this back and forth a little bit. Got a little green showing up in that.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for is kind of more of a greenish blue color. And right now, don't see that. So there's some good news there. But again, this is still a very dangerous storm moving into Florence. Tremendous amount of lightning going on with it. And there's still a possibility it could produce a tornado, especially on the back edge of this. But like that window really starts to close as this main line comes in and intersects that.
And if our team could show that Florence cam, it's really getting active outside. You can see a lot of that lightning.
Ooh, a lot of that cloud ground there.
For sure. So I'm seeing a lot of folks mentioning that it is noisy in Florence, and that's for sure. As you can see on this camera here, we're still watching a good portion of the storm.
Yeah, I think there's going to be damage. I think it's still possible we've got an EF1 type tornado with this storm. Again, they let the tornado warning go, but
there's still some of those.
I've seen storms that look just like this with no tornado warnings, and we end up like February 14th of last year, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's what
we had the tornado that hit down in Tuscumbia. Again, the radar looked just like this.
I think someone has mentioned that in earlier conversation.
St. Florine the same way. I would be sheltered. I think a hallway is going to be fine. Stay away from your windows. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radar again. We've got it's still very dangerous. We've got lots of lightning. We've got some large hail. The largest hail looks like it's going to pass just south of Central Heights. And as we go, this is all going to track right along the Cox Creek Parkway. So, matter of fact, we are going to know whether or not this storm's producing damage here very soon, because it's going into a heavily populated area. And we usually get reports immediately from first responders on that. So I would be in your shelter here along the Cox Creek Parkway. In fact, all of Florence, I think, should be in your shelter. Again, the tornado warning, they let that go, but we still have significant wind here. We still have a fairly significant pattern here for a stronger mesocyclone. So at the very least, we may have damaging straight line winds. But at the most, I think we've got possibly an EF1 type tornado that may touch down with this. And again, you're also going to see a lot of wind move through St. Florine, probably some trees down, Central Heights, some shingles off of homes, things like that. So we get down here a little bit closer. I'll show you where this circulation is. It is right on County Road 2, where that intersects County Road 15. It's in that general vicinity, and it's tracking east and a bit northeast, and it's going to be really close to County Road 14 here soon, and then Highway 20, which takes you from the McFarland Park area up towards Central Heights. So again, Highway 20, it'll be there shortly. It is about, let me take a look at the mile, how far that is. So from Highway 20, where it kind of turns from the Cox Creek Parkway, about 5 miles from there, moving quickly northeast. Yeah. So a lot of lightning, very heavy rain. Stay in your shelter in place here with this as it continues to move through. It will be moving through this heavily populated area towards St. Florine, and you unfortunately have a history of these types of events coming through.
Right.
But again, we're giving you plenty of warning on this. We've been tracking this for about 40 minutes or so now.
Yeah, and I think too, we've been watching this back half of the storm system, because if you were with us a little earlier, this was two separate lines that you can see they're really starting to merge a bit. What we're looking at though is kind of keeping an eye on Tishomingo, for example, a couple areas in Mississippi where we're starting to see some of those storm warnings. They still have tornado possible on their severe thunderstorm warnings, so we could be seeing similar situations. Of course, there's also they're working to get a new severe warning along the line for at least Franklin County. So we're seeing these warnings develop in real time for you. So again, we're trying to keep up to date as things change, but looking at that back half of the storm, it looks like it's kind of getting closer together. Looks like we may be
it's probably about
miles.
10 miles apart now. And for areas to the south of Florence, you're just going to feel the main brunt of the main line as it moves in, but we're still concerned with this storm coming into Florence, especially the north side along the Cox Creek Parkway. Got lots of trees down, lots of power outages in the Brighton area in Tipton, Tennessee. So all of these storms have a history of damage that are coming through, and we do expect damage. We do expect more power outages, and we're going to watch Sand Mountain very closely, because this is the kind of situation that as this line races east and encounters Sand Mountain and Lookout Mountain, and that'll happen probably after midnight tonight, we often see these low-level spin-up circulations. So again, we're going to keep a real close eye on you tonight. Waynesboro, threat of severe weather is about over after that storm moves through, but some of you may be without power. I'm going to turn the lightning off again. There's just so much lightning out here with that storm.
Right.
It is less organized, but it still concerns me when we've got the velocity that looks the way it does, especially at this, especially at this altitude. Again, the radar's looking above, where if there's a tornado, it's going to be below this, because it's kind of that setup. We're not looking at a well-formed mesocyclone. It's still kind of ragged here. It keeps going back and forth, but again, this is moving right into Florence right now. And keep an eye on that camera. We should be able to see that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our camera again.
Yeah, it's a lot of lightning for sure.
Yeah, what I'm looking for is any lowering of the clouds, any power flashes, and power's still on there. Of course, the storm hasn't moved in yet.
Yeah, not quite.
But that's kind of looking west, and we're looking on the west side of Florence here. You kind of see the lowering of the clouds here. I mean, if it was daytime, you'd see a huge not a wall cloud, a shelf cloud, and we're kind of starting to see that come into view.
A little bit, yes.
Every now and then when the lightning flashes, you're going to see a little bit of green tint.
So they have just issued, our NWS office has just issued a severe thunderstorm warning, and this includes Franklin County and west central Lawrence County. So this is until, let's see if they give us a time on this. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail, still some of the same hazards we're seeing at the moment.
Okay, we can go back to radar.
Yeah, let's check that out. So Russellville, Red Bay, Phil Campbell, Littleville, Belgreen, Vina, Hodges, and Cedar Creek Reservoir, so as well as Atwood.
Yeah, I mean, the weather's been so nice. We get that first alert out. So hopefully if you were camping this weekend, spring break starting, so
right.
There are people, I mean, if you are camping.
And that's till 11:15, that warning.
This is a very hazardous situation here.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're in a mobile home and you have large trees surrounding your mobile home, that's an issue as well, because we could see some 70-mile-per-hour winds, and those will knock down some trees. So again, that's another thing. I get a lot of these questions on social media, and it's like, I think a lot of people are missing the point on tonight's storms, because just because there's severe thunderstorm warnings, they are still going to be capable of some significant damage as they move east. We probably won't start getting reports until after these have already moved through, especially with the power outages in Cherokee, I believe.
Right. As
we get back in here towards St. Florine, I would stay in the hallway until this moves out. Petersville, same thing there. We have seen time and time again these storms come through. They look a lot like this. They're not warned for, and then we get damage. I mean, it doesn't look like a significant tornado risk. This looks like a EF0, maybe low-end EF1 risk. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on, because we don't have anything showing up in the debris detector, at least not right now. Yeah, that's not going on. So again, no debris being detected. So currently radar indicating there's no tornado on the ground. But again, something we're watching here. I think if you live in Sheffield, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, you're fine. Alabama Shores over here on the south side of Wilson Lake, you're probably going to be fine. We're watching this. It's moving through the north side of Florence towards Killen. and St. Florine, and eventually towards Lexington. But by the time it gets to Lexington, I think we're going to be looking at the other line of storms will have overtaken this. And in fact, we're seeing that interaction very, very close. We have really closed the gap. In fact, an hour ago, this line of storms was, what was it, 30 miles
30.
apart?
Yeah.
And now it's about, I'm going to guess 7.
Yeah.
So let's take a look
That's
here.
a pretty good estimate.
Yeah, let's go. That's 6.6. Not bad.
Yeah.
All right. So again, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. It's a little disorganized, but if you're sheltered there in your hallway, things like that, I think that's probably a safe place to stay until this clears the area. And again, there's more wind coming in behind this. There is a lot of uncertainty on just how strong that wind is, but we're about to find out as this moves through.
We're also seeing reports, Waterloo without power. A couple of folks near Stewartsville as well. Ardmore.
Yeah, it's all out here again.
So yeah, lots of these folks.
It may be a while
yeah.
before that power gets back on. Hopefully, it's something temporary, because it's going to get really cold tomorrow. In fact, it's going to snow tomorrow. Wild weather here. Welcome to Alabama. So, as we kind of expand the view here, we're down to just a line of thunderstorms the way it looks now, and this is going to be moving east very quickly. And within this line, there's still a possibility of these spin-up tornadoes. So this is kind of going to go back to the original forecast. That supercell was kind of an exception to the forecast. Thankfully, we've only had 1 or 2 to deal with. The other one was out of our viewing area towards Waynesboro. But as we continue on here, we'll be watching this line of thunderstorms. What happens is you get these little areas that stick out. The wind's coming so fast right across the top of these storms. There's a lot of wind shear in the low levels, so that only intensifies the threat for some damaging winds, and of course the threat that we're looking at a lot of lightning and very heavy rain. Trees down, power lines down.
Yes.
On fire in Cortland community of Lawrence County.
Oh.
Cortland. This is probably a non-thunderstorm wind here. Trees down on power lines.
Because I think some folks are reporting some wind speeds picking up in their area closer to Huntsville. So I think we're probably seeing some of those wind gusts that we were talking about earlier today, but none of storm relative at the moment.
Tennessee Valley Weather saying that they can see power flashes in Florence on their camera, so we're going to get back into there.
Yeah, I think we have a better angle of
we can.
Setup
yeah,
as well.
It's getting close. I'm actually looking at the camera, our camera there, but yeah, there's just a lot of lightning. Again, stay in that hallway here in St. Florine, north side of Florence, along the Cox Creek Parkway. Possibly getting power flashes here. It could just be wind as well, because wind. What will likely happen is you're going to start hearing booms, perhaps, and those will be transformers, blue flashes. It doesn't mean there's a tornado. It just means you're likely looking at high winds taking out power and transformers blowing up. So it happens. If you're from hurricane country, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It happens all the time with these hurricanes. You just see these blue flashes and you hear loud booms.
Yep.
But we're really going to have to keep a close eye on this storm here. Again, it's now north of the river, and it continues to basically bear down on St. Florine and the Cox Creek Parkway right in here. Again, busy stretch of road here towards Helton Drive. Very heavy rain and the potential for damaging winds, and there may be even a low-end type tornado flaring up inside there. Let's go ahead and go to the camera with that one.
Yeah.
It looked like it. Were you moving it?
No, I believe our
okay, they're moving it
our
back there.
team.
Okay. Yeah, so again, this storm, the brunt of it's now moving along the Cox Creek Parkway, headed towards Killen, south of St. Florine, County Road 30 here, County Road 47. There's a live view from our, you can see the power still on. Again, this is looking off, I think this is looking towards the Parkway, Cox Creek Parkway. Just a lot of lightning. What we'll look for will be right at the bottom of the screen where we would see potential for power surges and power flashes, things like that.
Yeah.
Not really see, again, there's so much lightning out there. Don't really see anything on the ground with this, but most of the winds now are away from the radar, but very strong winds here. This storm has a history of producing 56 mile per hour wind gust. earlier in Cherokee, and it continues to bear down on St. Florine and Killen on its way up towards Anderson and Lexington.
I think we're also seeing a report, 83-mile-per-hour wind gust in Florence.
Wow, yeah, that's on their camera. They had
Yeah.
an 83-mile-an-hour wind gust. Yeah, so again, that's why we didn't want to go away from this storm. It is producing damage most likely. If you get anything above 60 miles an hour, you're looking at fairly significant damage. And when you get 80, again, they registered an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust on one of their camera network. So again, this is St. Florine, hunker down, continues to move through. And then Killen, it's going to be close. I think it's going to kind of just north of Killen and towards Lexington. Primary concern here is damaging straight line wind, but there's still a tornado possible, I would think, this being this far from the radar site. Let me switch over to High Top and see if it's got a better vantage point of this.
I think some folks are hearing of trees down near Cox Creek, possibly.
Yeah.
Per their scanner, which if we're seeing about 83-mile-per-hour winds, that's to be expected.
And that's the challenge. That's the challenge. The radar beam is so high over Florence that it's really hard to detect that tornado, especially with a system like this. I mean, it's not a full-blown outbreak of supercells, but we have one supercell, and it's not doing a very good job of detecting some of that. So take a look at shear storm relative velocity, shear rate. Okay, let me see if this is showing any debris. Oh, there we got debris signature.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it's valid or not. Let me text them.
Yeah. So we're checking in with NWS chat at the moment, just confirming.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so this is what we've been looking for. Is this here? It was fairly, it was larger, in fact, west of there. Let me slow the radar down. I'm gonna stop this right here. So as we go back, right in there, it looks a little messy, but you see all that there.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be noise. Sometimes the hail impacts this product, but it's probably, they'll probably come back and tell me that's contaminated. But man, that shows up pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, this is going to be
Pretty well for a good point of time as well.
Yeah, that
with
is,
that run.
again, this was earlier. This was at 10:25, and right now it's 10:33. 32.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, this is where the next rad Doppler radar from High Top looking up. So this would likely be, if this is debris, we don't know, lofted to the north as the storm was near Cherokee. So again, that's, look at all aspects of this storm. So there's the latest radar update. Still a very dangerous storm. Right over St. Florine, a lot of lightning.
Let's
Okay,
see,
tornado warning's coming
warning.
out. Yeah, let's see where it's coming out for. Lauderdale County.
Yeah, and that's until 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I wonder if it was my debris signature. Okay, let me read this warning here. New tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near St. Florine, near Florence, moving northeast at 40. Radar indicating rotation. So again, we still can't confirm this, but I'm still worried about this storm still capable of producing a tornado.
Yeah, it just has all the...
It has everything, and again, the fact we can't see the lowest levels that we want to, always concerning, but man, the lightning just keeps continuously flashing here.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to turn that off.
And now that that backline has caught up significantly, that was kind of our concern. Once these two get that close together, we could possibly see this situation fire up. So
yeah, you know, on top of that, you get a possible debris signature. Can't confirm it yet, but then you get a report of an 83-mile-an-hour wind gust with that storm from a camera network. Again, this happens a lot. And if you live in St. Florine, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get into the velocity a little bit more, the radar. So the worst of this storm is over St. Florine right now, right on County Road 47. Helton Drive to the north, Petersville East. Anywhere in here, we could see a possible tornado. That's the other challenge. We see the rotation from this vantage point so broad that we don't exactly know exactly where it's going to be. So to street level map here where you think the tornado is would be very, very wrong. But I will show you some streets in here and see, at least if I were to say this is exactly where it is. It's somewhere in here, and there's also a lot of wind in here. So we get down County Road 30, we got County Road 22, Bennett Way, probably going to get close. It's going to pass just north of Killen, the way it looks, and right along Highway 43. I'm going to put an extended storm track on here.
Of course, we're seeing a lot of confirmation of sirens in Florence.
And the warning hadn't popped up yet.
Yeah, no.
Huh. All right, well, there it is. We know it's there.
Yeah.
Again, this is going to be
to catch up.
a fairly narrow polygon on this, but Lexington, you are in this warning. But over time, you can see how the line of storms to the north is already interacting with the northern side. It's the southern side of the storm we want it to interact with, hopefully, and weaken that circulation. But the winds are still very strong in that second line. I know we haven't talked a lot about that. So again, Killen, Lexington, possible tornado here. We've likely had damage from this storm. It's just on the right here around Killen. It's moving a little more east now, so I think we're starting to see some influence. We lost some of that hail shaft there. Let's take a look at debris signature from here. And it's tricky. Again, the debris, the correlation coefficient we call it, official name. It's going to be tricky on a night like tonight. But we do have some leaves out on trees now, so, and this probably is not accurate there. You see how it gets all funky down there, we'll call it?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this line coming through. Waterloo, your severe weather threat's over for the night. Iuka, same thing there. Tishomingo, severe threat's over. We continue to watch the severe threat unfold. Moving towards Russellville. Very strong winds within this entire line.
54 mile per hour winds confirmed over in Florence. So.
Okay, 54 mile an hour winds now in Florence. So very dangerous storm here, a history of wind damage, and right behind it, more wind coming in, due west. This will be the strongest wind in most areas of the night with this westerly component here as that line moves in. So St. Florine, I'd stay hunkered down for another 10 minutes or so. As it's on the way out, it's moving away from you. Petersville, it's east of you now, but you have another storm coming into the west. So we're kind of at that moment we've been waiting for, where this main line is going to take over, and sometimes it can spin up a tornado as it makes that interaction, although it's brief, but most of the times it'll just take it away. It just takes over, and the storm just disintegrates. We'll probably see that indication.
Our Florence camera, I believe we're seeing. Someone has mentioned a funnel being seen on their Florence camera, so I'm not entirely sure if we could see it on ours, but...
Yeah, I mean, we would be in a good position. Now, I can see some of that lowering of the clouds there. Yeah, it definitely shows up better. I'll tell you what. Are you logged into that camera?
Yes, right here.
Okay, so I want to move this around a little bit. So we're kind of looking on the north side.
I think it's a little behind in movement.
Yeah, it is. So, get around this tower, this beam. So what we'd be looking at is probably right
off in there, yeah.
Now this is east of the Cox Creek Parkway. Yeah, what I want to look at is right behind that beam, I think. So let's take it to the other side of the beam, and it'll eventually, boy, that lightning is bright.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at this storm as it tracks more towards Killen as we get that view set there. So we can go back to radar here real quick, and I'll continue to monitor over here.
Yeah. We are still seeing folks report power outages. As well as hailing in Florence again.
Was it that second storm coming in with hail?
Possibly.
It's possible. I don't think there's as much hail with that backside. Let's take a look at it. Yeah,
still a good amount.
Yeah, there is some hail with that one. Probably Peter dime size hail moving into the west side of Florence. And this storm's starting to weaken near St. Florine, north of there, north of Killen. So I think we're seeing the interaction there.
Yeah,
but this storm has a real history of hail coming through. All right, let me get back to GWX velocity. Yeah, not seeing anything else on our camera, but we got a pretty good view of it.
And I believe a couple of folks are trying to get connected with our radio stations that would broadcast at this time. So 96.9, and is there another one? I may be short
you got
on my
the
memory.
Fix over in Florence. You got WKAC out of Athens. Also in the northeast corner of the state, you're going to find us on the Southern Torch.
Okay.
But there should be information on our website that has all those.
Perfect.
Yeah, because that is a good
My
idea.
memory was failing me for the moment, but yeah. So there are a couple of ways that you can get in touch to make sure you're hearing everything that we are putting out for folks. But as of right now, we're just seeing a lot of power outages from quite a few comments here. So this is the expectation of power outages with these winds getting up to about 60+ mile per hour winds. We did see a report earlier. We're seeing it kind of die down just a tad at 54 miles per hour recently, but even our folks that haven't quite seen this just yet, the expectation is that with these gusty winds, power outages are inevitable in a few areas. So again, make sure as you have the opportunity to charge your devices, make sure you're up on your batteries, and if you have a weather radio, make sure you're tuned in. This is a good time for you to make sure you have all those things around you for sure. Especially as we are going into Sunday evening, into your Monday morning, a lot of folks getting back to work. So that is an expectation on the backside of this storm, seeing how that's going to look as we continue to track out the rest of this storm and what may become flurries in your Monday morning forecast. So once again, make sure you have all your devices ready to go as you can.
Yeah, good advice there, Jada. We'll continue to watch this storm. It's going to get absorbed by the main line, but in Florence right now, you've got that other thunderstorm coming in from the west. Again, keep in mind we could have these low-end tornadoes embedded within the circulations here of this secondary line. We're looking at Muscle Shoals right now. Very strong winds coming into town. I'm going to turn that off, and we are going to go storm relative velocity here. But again, it's going to be really difficult to pinpoint some of these. So a lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings will have the tag that will say tornado possible with them as they move through. Another look at the radar. Again, very heavy rain. The lightning's actually picking up in that storm that it's interacting with the other one. So near St. Florine, it's been a rough hour there for sure. But again, coming in from the west, this storm has potential for damaging straight line winds. It's over Central Heights right now and continues to track to the east. This one's moving east towards St. Florine and eventually Killen. That tornadic part of that storm is now north of you there in Killen. I'm going to get back to that in a second. But let's put a storm track on this line. I'm going to put it in here because that one's moving. So we go there, and we're going to move this east. I'm going to move it east at about, I'm going to go about 62 miles an hour because this line is accelerating. So it's in Muscle Shoals now, Lexington 1048, Anderson 1055, Joe Wheeler State Park right around 11 o'clock, Rogersville 11 o'clock, Town Creek 11 o'clock, and we're looking at North Cortland and Lucy's Branch Marina around 1106, Coxie 1108. Elkmont, we're looking at about 1111, Ardmore 1116, and you can see this line will be, let me go ahead and I'm going to update this track here.
I believe it's also getting quite dark on our Florence camera, so we are starting to see some of those power outages in a couple of those areas.
Definitely.
Because it was still pretty well lit when we looked, what was that, maybe 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
So we're starting to see those power outages through this camera at the point in time. So again, I believe they just continued this tornado warning as well. That is just updated around 10:43. Let's see, until 11 o'clock for northeastern Lauderdale County. Still seeing some radar indicated rotation, so they're watching that as well. They have marked Colbert County, Lauderdale, Lawrence, Limestone, Lincoln, Madison, and Morgan with their severe thunderstorm warning, and they also have tornado possible in the notes there. So,
all right, thank you. I'm trying to go in here and extend this storm track a little bit farther and have it.
Right.
We'll include Athens in here and have it go down the road, because it's eventually moving into Madison County. But expect power outages. Damage is also possible from wind. All right, I'll just redraw this. So again, severe thunderstorm warning. We're all going to get severe thunderstorm warnings out of this. You can see how this polygon goes fairly quickly to the east with this storm moving at 60 miles per hour or so. So it's absorbed. Let's get one last look here where the tornado warning is. It's almost, yeah, it's still right on the edge there. So I'd stay in your shelter there in Lexington. The lightning's now a little dislocated with the area circulation. Hail threat. Still a threat for hail there, although it's likely going to start going down a bit as this other storm interacts with it. A little bit of hail on the west side of Florence, moving towards Sheffield. This is probably pea to dime size hail. And take a look here at the velocity. We're going to start getting more samples of wind coming directly towards the radar, so that will help in tornado detection. Because for now we've been looking north at winds that are to the west, and that makes it challenging. So one more look down here to the south. Yeah, I know this is coming in like a tropical storm down here all across this area. So Muscle Shoals down to Russellville. Let me do another storm track here. So I'll track this area here, move east. I'm going to put it at 62 miles an hour. So right now, I'd say 10:50, about 3 minutes from now, we've got Little Bear Creek, Cedar Creek Reservoir, Vina, Crooked Oak around 10:53, Littleville 10:59, Phil Campbell 11:08, North Cortland again with this part of the storm just after 11 o'clock as well. Moulton 11:26, Russellville 11:02. Again, expect straight line winds, frequent lightning, a very heavy rain. It'll bear down for about solid 25 minutes as it's moving through, and then the weather will improve, and after that the threat of severe weather is going to be over. So our timeline we've had out, it's been pretty accurate. We continue to watch just the line up here to the north.
Right, and I wonder if we could check in on some of the wind speeds around Madison. Seeing a lot of folks talking about wind picking up and possible power outages around county line.
You know, that's the other thing, is the winds are going to continue to increase as kind of the squeeze play, we call it. As this line gets closer, the winds, the great pressure gradient force gets tighter and it creates more wind. So some of you may be experiencing the windiest part of the day and it still isn't raining.
Right.
And it'll be windy on the backside too, but probably closer to 35, 40 mile an hour wind gusts as the colder air eventually takes over.
And that'll continue into most of Monday morning even. I think on top of that, with the flurries going into tomorrow, that's a big portion of our first alert going into Monday morning. Even though this is going to be early on in the day, we still have some other lower end threats in comparison to the storms that we are concerned about.
Yeah, and I mean, just the fact that it's going to snow tomorrow is just bizarre, isn't it?
That's very interesting.
Okay, so let's do another track on this storm moving out of Muscle Shoals. I'll put it at about 62 miles an hour. So we're looking at Killen right now, Joe Wheeler State Park 11:02, and then we're going to be seeing Lucy's Branch Marina. You popped up here a couple times now, 11:10. Coxsey 11:11, Elkmont 11:15, Athens 11:23, Tanner 11:27, actually Tanner 11:26. The Canebrake area on the east side of Athens, that's going to be right there, right around 11:27. French Mill 11:29, Harvest 11:33, Magnolia Springs subdivision there, just east of Old Railroad Bed Road, out by Endeavor Elementary, about 11:34. So this is a line of storms capable of straight line wind damage that will move in very quickly. So that's about less than an hour from now. That's just how fast these storms are moving. We'll continue to watch any of these storms capable of, again, we're kind of at that end now where we get this possible isolated developing tornado that's basically here and gone by the time the warning's out sometimes. That's how fast they do happen. As we continue down towards Russellville, really starting to converge on a lot of wind coming through. I'm going to check the Weather Service, see if we've got any reports, any new reports coming in.
I think they're just reiterating that that funnel cloud that was seen on the Florence camera a while back.
Again, you guys can find us on the Fix over in the Shoals, WFIX, and 91.3 FM. Covering the storms as they come through right now. Again, we're kind of, a tornado warned storm is now north of Killen. It's likely going to start to phase out a little bit, and then we transition to this high impact wind that's coming through. It's going to seem relentless for some. Again, it's going to be like a tropical storm coming through. So again, up here towards Florence and Muscle Shoals, lots of wind, a little bit of hail, a lot of lightning. Once again with the storm in St. Florine, north of the Cox Creek Parkway is where most of that lightning is taking place. And the wind shear is starting to drop. We still have some shear showing up in around Lexington. So you still need to be in your shelter in Lexington and up towards Loretto with this storm as it's coming in. So we're finally seeing what we call the cell merger. These storms are colliding now. And we're going to see the end result will hopefully just be a continuous line of thunderstorms down to the south, and we just kind of lose that supercell. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Minor Hill. If this does ramp up again, though, I'll put this storm track up here within this storm. So instead of moving northeast, this storm's going to transition and start moving probably more in this fashion here. And we'll wait and see. Sometimes you can get a meso low that forms in these storms. That's just like a mini area low pressure, and that can cycle through tornadoes as it moves east northeast. So this is a heads up in case this kind of flares back up. Minor Hill pretty much right now 11:02. I guess it's only 10:52. Bethel 11:10. Pulaski around 11:13. Elkton 11:22. The Bellevue area 11:45 or so. Fayetteville 11:45. So keep an eye up here on Fayetteville, and of course Ardmore, you're going to be close in there as well. So I'd put your time around 11:22, right on the state line with that storm. Again, we're going to have a much better view of this entire line, and probably in about 30 minutes when it gets a little bit closer to the radar. We're between radar sources now, basically. So Anderson, the tornadic part of the storm is north of you. You still have some very high winds coming in. I'm going to switch over to high top, see if it's got a better view yet of these storms. Boy, there's a lot of wind there.
Yes.
You can see the circulation too. So there's still that tornadic circulation. It is north of Lexington. It's right on the state line. Shows up quite well in velocity, and even better in storm relative velocity. So this merger may be inducing this tornado. And there's no tornado warning in Tennessee. So I would treat this like a tornado warning here. Loretto, southeast there, towards Minor Hill. Let's see how this is coming together.
I do see tornado warning for Davidson, Sumner, and Wilson, Tennessee. Looks like the location of rotation is just west of Lakewood.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be if you've got loved ones in Nashville.
Yeah, that's the last I've seen from them.
Yeah, that tornado warning's up here. Probably moving near Mount Juliet now, northeast side of Nashville. Some of you maybe have been in town for the SEC tournament this weekend, and then the announcement of the brackets earlier today. Boy, we've got circulation here. This is what we're going to probably get into. We have these numerous little circulations like the one near Columbia, and this circulation's really increased with the merger of those thunderstorms. So
they did continue that tornado watch there. just now.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
the watch
via
is
our
probably going to be
Nashville
dropped
office.
back for some. But again, this tornadic part of the storm is now north of Lexington.
And it has expired as well for Lauderdale County.
What's that expired?
Tornado warning.
Okay. All right, so I think we probably have a tornado developing south of Lawrenceburg with that storm. It's kind of merged with the main line. Shear rate's probably going to be picking up quite a bit, yeah. And the storm relative velocity. So let's take a look at debris. It's probably too far to detect that. But our shear rate's up quite a bit. So again, this is just outside of the viewing area. I'll extend this storm track for this storm. Keep in mind, this storm may actually start tracking more east with the main energy coming in. So, boy. Yeah, that's, I would say we may have a tornado here southeast of Loretto, and that's going to move east towards Minor Hill. So Minor Hill, I would be taking tornado precautions from this storm. This storm has a history of significant wind as it moved through areas of Florence. We've got a lot of power outages.
We are seeing possible tornado on the Minor Hill camera, and that is coming from
Tennessee Valley weather?
Yes, yes.
All right, yeah, that is definitely a possible tornado. So we've had that cell merger. I said it was either going to take it away or it's going to, the interaction would force it to produce a tornado. So
it's on the ground with power flashes.
Okay, we got a tornado then right here.
Yes.
Headed towards Minor Hill. Need to be seeking shelter. Also, Lester, this is going to be close there. Definite tornado signature showing up here in the Doppler radar. And that's just regular velocity. Here's storm relative velocity. So this is really ramping up. The winds are probably really increasing here east of Lexington too. And that circulation's going, it's trending a little south. So we get up here. This is along Highway 64 in North Alabama. There's a 60